It's all kind of double standard, isn't it? It's completely double standards. What they say they tolerate and this kind of thing, they don't. It's the complete opposite. It's actually the people who are more pro-Trump on the right are the ones who are more tolerant.
It's really annoying when they claim to speak for everyone in the UK by being so intolerant of his visit while claiming that they're the tolerant ones.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
We are back live and we're talking to Yanni Brewer about the Sadiq Khan baby inflatable balloon that he plans to fly over London next month. We're talking about the Trump baby balloon, which is set to fly over London this Friday. Now, just looking at some of the recent visitors to London, let's take a look at this shortlist. Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. This is a guy who's presiding over war crimes in Yemen. He's presiding over the persecution of gays and women in Saudi Arabia. Who protested his visit to London? Barely anybody. Let's look at the Islamist dictator President Erdogan of Turkey. You know, a guy who locks up journalists, a guy who tortures people, a guy who has his own goons beat people up in the United States. Who protested his visit? Barely anybody. Let's look at what's happening in Iran. Women are literally being tortured and imprisoned for removing their hijabs. There was another famous case of that happened this week. Where are the feminists? Where are the marchers on the Iranian embassies? They're not happening. Sadiq Khan said nothing about any of that. Nobody really protested it. Oh, but Donald Trump said grab them by the pussy 13 years ago, and we're expecting 100,000 people out on the streets. Absolutely absurd, the level to which people allow themselves to be manipulated by fake moral outrage, fake hysteria. You know, Yanni, how many of these people are going to be out protesting this weekend because they feel a genuine moral urge to do so? And how many of them are going to be doing it, you know, for an Instagram selfie because they're vapid, virtue-signaling morons?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the anti-Trump thing, I think people are anti-Trump to be anti-Trump, aren't they? I don't think there's no real substance to any of it. Otherwise, they'd be out there, you know, campaigning against, like, the people you just mentioned. So a lot of it is to do with popularity. It's really popular. It's really cool to be anti-Trump. And if you're not anti-Trump, then you're uncool and basically you're silenced and you can't say that you're pro-Trump or anything. So a lot of it's just it's bullshit, isn't it, really?
That's exactly the word for it. It's also there's no Glastonbury this year, so they can't all shout for Jeremy Corbyn, so they're probably missing that. Let me read you this quote from the Trump baby balloon activist, your arch nemesis. He said, quote, "What could have been a day of infamy for Britain," he's talking about the visit of Trump, "instead becomes a day of national pride and unity." So he thinks he's literally going to create national pride and unity by flying this 20-foot Trump baby balloon. Yanni, how much unity do you think those people would exhibit in that crowd if you attended their protest wearing a red MAGA hat? Do you think they'd be very, very forgiving and very unifying in that situation?
No, I'm sure it would be the same as being, you know, fed to a pack of wolves if I was there wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat. So it's all kind of double standard, isn't it? It's completely double standards. What they say they tolerate and this kind of thing, they don't. It's the complete opposite. It's actually the people who are more pro-Trump on the right are the ones who are more tolerant.
It's incredible. Also, now this is not to advocate any illegal activity whatsoever. We obviously don't do that. But anybody who's been reading 4chan over the past few days knows that they've located where this Trump baby balloon is. As with past 4chan events, specifically with Shia LaBeouf and everything that happened with him, they're talking about bringing this inflatable balloon down. Do you see that happening? Do you think that's on the horizon, given how much chatter there is on 4chan about it?
I haven't seen the chatter on 4chan personally, but you know, it would be good to see if it did come down. It'd be nice to see. I'm not, you know, like you said, advocating that, but I think people underestimate just how irritating this event is, just how irritating this balloon is. And people underestimate it, and they think that everyone's anti-Trump in the UK, and it's not the case. It's just not the case. So you could well see it come down. You could see you know, a counter-protest of some sort. But these people are so blinded these people in London, these anti-Trump, they're so blinded by themselves that they don't see anything else. They don't see that there is actually support for Donald Trump in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, it's really annoying when they claim to speak for everyone in the UK by being so intolerant of his visit while claiming that they're the tolerant ones. I mean, you had France. France basically got a jump on us. Again, the population of France, I imagine, are no great fans of Donald Trump in any large majority. It's probably the same as in the UK. But they got a jump on everyone. They arranged I think it was a state visit or the equivalent of, before anyone else. There were no giant protests, obviously a few, no giant protests. It worked out well for both countries. They could get over their little butthurt and just acknowledge the fact that even if you don't like the president, you have to respect the office. And to ostracize the president, that's only going to harm our interests, as he said, when we need this Brexit deal, if even, Brexit happens at all at this point. But just in closing, Yanni, tell people how they can support the funding and the organization of this Sadiq Khan baby balloon event.
Yeah, so we're still on crowdfunding. We've got until the 9th of August. So we've been going 5 days. We've got £40,000. So it's a long way to go, 9th of August, for the funding. So the bigger the donations, the bigger the amount we raise, the bigger the balloon, the bigger the event. The more we can do on the day to help make London safe again. And if you want to get involved, you can contact myself on Twitter, or there'll be a few other details as well in the next coming days of who else to contact in regards to that. But yeah, keep the money coming in, and then the more we raise, the bigger this event can be, and the more pressure we can put on Sadiq Khan.
Definitely. So people have got a few weeks to keep that money rolling in. You can stage a bigger and bigger event the more money you get, and basically have a real response to these people who claim to represent those in the UK. They don't. You've proven that by outraising them in a matter of days. It took them a month to make what, £27,000. You made that in just over 3 days. Absolutely monumental effort. The real fight back begins. We will have our voice just as they have theirs, and we'll continue to monitor it. Yanni Brouwer, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
There goes Yanni Brouwer with the Sadiq Khan baby balloon protest. Be sure to go and find that and donate. It will be in the description when this video goes up on YouTube. Let's cover a few final news stories, but before that, I want to direct your attention to these 4th of July super sale specials, because we've extended them, obviously, massive discounts on a huge laundry list of products over at InfoWarsStore.com, including Brain Force Plus at 50% off, Survival Shield X2 40% off, and by the way, this is all free shipping. We've got the Knockout Sleep Support, which is still available at $17.76 with free shipping while supplies last. And as I said, a laundry list of other products: DNA Force Plus, the Real Red Pill Plus, Super Female Vitality, all Super Blue products at 50% off, and InfoWars Life Select Storable Food, 3-month supply, 50% off, all with free shipping. Go and check out the 5-star independent certified reviews and get the products. Support this network right now by shopping at InfoWarsStore.com. Now, talking about that Trump visit, this is a headline out of Zero Hedge. Americans in UK urged to keep low profile during Trump visit. So our conservative and name-only government is so petrified of what might happen from these virtue-signaling lefty Corbynista middle-class idiots that all live in £2 million plush pads in West London, that they're now telling Americans living in London or Americans visiting London to keep a low profile during President Trump's visit later this week following the NATO summit. It says this is a warning. This is the official warning from the US Embassy in London. Numerous demonstrations are being planned for July 12 to 14 surrounding the visit of the President of the United States. Trump will hold talks with Theresa May. And again, he's not even going to be anywhere near London, but they're telling Americans in London to be visible, to keep a low profile, because protests may turn violent. They're literally telling people to keep a low profile, just American tourists, Americans living in London. Why would they need to do that? Are they telling them not to wear red MAGA hats? Is that it? Do we not want to trigger the tolerant liberals at this point? Is that what they're afraid of? Again, just absolute cowardly behavior from front to back with this government right now, which has betrayed Brexit. And on that subject, Breitbart headline, Trump backs Boris Johnson's Brexit rebellion. President Trump has poured petrol into the flames of UK Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit crisis by coming out for her chief opponent, Boris Johnson. So he gave these comments earlier today. He said, Boris Johnson's a friend of mine. He's been very, very nice to me, very supportive. Of course, Trump sees his own legacy as being deeply embedded in the Brexit vote, which happened, about 5 months before he became president, or at least was elected president. So Trump sees his legacy in the legacy of Brexit. He wants to keep Brexit alive. Brexit has been completely betrayed by our conservative in name-only government over the past few days. Even with all these resignations, it looks like Theresa May is going to keep her job. The Remainers in Parliament are dancing a jig. They're over the moon with this crappy deal, which isn't Brexit at all. And really, we're facing dark times in the UK. Is the UK at the point of no longer being a functioning democracy, given that they're basically ignoring the results of a national referendum? Harrowing times indeed. That's going to wrap it up for the show. War Room is coming up next, Infowars.com. Stay right there.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
The globalists are losing, but they're doubling down their attacks. There's one thing they fear, and it's people power. InfoWars has defeated their censorship so far only because of you spreading the links, spreading the articles, subscribing, clicking the notification buttons, and getting the articles and videos out. But they are intensifying their censorship, so now it's more important than ever to ensure we keep the First Amendment alive and well right here in America and free speech worldwide. So from Australia to countries in Africa, to Europe, to Mexico, to right here in the USA, I salute you all for taking action and defending free speech. We will prevail.